Hey everyone, welcome to Talking Tokens, a podcast focused on interviewing the best crypto founders, market players, and up-and-coming startups that are changing the industry every single Tuesday and Thursday. I'm Jacquelyn Melinek, your award-nominated host and former senior crypto reporter turned entrepreneur, and I'm excited to be here with you all. Now, let's get into it. Today's CEO is Matej Zak, the CEO of the crypto hardware wallet Trezor. It is one of the oldest crypto hardware wallets out there. It's been around for over a decade. They have a suite of products, including the Safe Wallet 3, the Trezor Model 1, supports over 9,000 tokens through its suite of other third-party tools. And it also recently announced the Safe Wallet 5, which I'm sure we will discuss today. We're also recording this episode in real life in Prague. I'm at Bitcoin Prague, and we are at their office if things look different for you guys. So we're excited to talk about all of this today. Matej, thank you for having me in the office, and welcome to the show.
Likewise. Thanks for having me, and welcome to Prague.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's my first time here. To start off, can you kind of tell me about how you got into this industry, your background, everything, your 5-year journey at Trezor from, I'm pretty sure you were product manager to now CEO. Right. How did that happen? What was the process like?
Right. So I started my career as a musician. So it's very, obviously very, very different. I think I made the joke yesterday that, I kind of, one of the reasons I quit that because of my stage fright. And now I'm presenting in conferences around the world all the time. So poor life choices. But yeah, so I guess I was always curious. I wanted to work in tech, to be honest. I, started a couple startups on my own right after college. So, that, kind of excited me. And starting in Trezor is the kind of the most boring story ever, but I applied for a job that I found online. And I was interested in Bitcoin before. So I got excited. I joined the company when there were around, I think, 30 of us. So fairly small team, but already a successful company in terms of, because we were the first one to build a hardware wallet. We were the first one to invent the human readable backup of the private keys, which maybe we'll cover in more detail later. But, there was this amazing product that found a really amazing product market fit. Not that many companies were doing it back in the day. And, so there was definitely, I saw, kind of the potential of this. And I think when I joined, we were basically geeks, I would say, the founders of the company, are engineers. They are basically tech people mainly. And I was the first product manager the company ever had, as somebody who would specifically work on design and making sure the products are more and more usable with every release, etc. And, product managers are usually labeled as like these mini CEOs because they really need to connect like business, design, user experience, but the technology as well. And that's what I was doing in my job. And I just, as being, I guess, curious and annoying that sometimes, I was just basically improving more and more stuff in the company. And also we grew the team significantly, right? Because we are much bigger now. And I enjoyed this sort of leadership position, and kind of try to lead the way. So that's how it happened.
That's a cool story, though, because you started as a PM, you just applied to the job, you're honest. But I think that could serve as like a lesson to others that maybe where you start isn't always where you end up in a good way. Yeah,
for sure. And I think, by the way, because I had this story or this kind of story in the company, I also like to see that in other people when they're really like the culture, I think, of our company is really built on sort of accountability and people who like take action, right? Because that's kind of what I was doing. Like I didn't really was told what to do. I was just like, well, this needs to get fixed. This needs to get fixed. It needs to get much better. This is not the quality we should be okay with, like those kind of things. And I love to see it with our new hires as well, where they're really passionate about Bitcoin and crypto, and they're really, it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's really like I would say like a hobby and passion that we really want to see.
Right. So you started around 30 people. You're around 150 now. Am I right?
Right. With a lot, sort of 30 more open positions, so we might be reaching 200 this year.
Wow. Okay. And in the past 100 or 18 months, I was going to say 180 days, the past 18 months, since you've become CEO, what were some things that you wanted to accomplish and how have those panned out?
Right. So the role itself is obviously different. I'm more of a generalist now and I'm more of a strategist, I would say. Those are the biggest differences. I think since we are bootstrapped as a company, we don't take any external capital. It has some huge advantages, such as that we can make our own decisions, right? So, but we also have to make sure we are betting on the right decisions. Because of not having external capital means we cannot really afford to make like big mistakes, I would say. Because I mean, arguably any company shouldn't do mistakes, but it's, we basically work with our own capital. So we have to be careful on where we are going and why. And that's mainly what I'm, focusing on to make sure that we are on the right path.
Yeah.
With our mission.
I mean, I was talking about this beforehand, but obviously there's a few major hardware crypto wallets in the space. Of course, Trezor is one of them. You guys have been around for a while, but what do you want to do to kind of make sure that like you stay strong in this space and at the top, if not the top hardware crypto wallet?
So I think it really starts with keeping up with our mission and not, focusing or defocusing actually on many other different things. I think that's really, really important because we see new products coming to the market where it's moving a bit from, or actually quite a lot from the self-custody principles, which self-custody, we always say it's 3 pillars: security, usability, and privacy. And those we really try to protect. And our product decisions are always kind of looked at through these lenses, right? Like whether we are really true to our like mission. So I think that's really number one. And I would just say, and then I believe the market will tell whether, we are successful, because like I'm kind of believe in this kind of free market maximalism, like in the sense that it's really market will tell whether we are doing it right or not. But if the question is sort of how to do that, then I think we really need to be true to our mission and to focus on the core principles of self-custody.
You also launched the Safe 5 crypto wallet during Bitcoin Prague. Can you kind of tell me about why you guys decided to do that? How is it different from Safe 3, which came out last year?
Right. So
Go ahead.
So Trezor Safe 5 is currently our flagship product, which is sort of built. I mean, it's the most user-friendly hardware wallet that we have ever built. I started, as we discussed in the company, as when the company was a bit more, let's say, geeky in a way, and now we are moving more into this sort of consumer electronics space where we want, of course, our products to be used by millions of people around the world, and therefore they need to look, to be like sort of approachable, but also obviously the user experience needs to be really good, and that's exactly what we focused on with the Trezor Safe 5. So as opposed to, or compare with the Trezor Safe 3, let's say, it has larger display. It's a touch display with colors, so that already helps. It has this sort of Gorilla Glass covered the display, so it's quite nice, minimalistic, design. It's very beautiful. It has also this, I actually have it here. It has these nice metal bags, and yeah, so it's kind of the aim with this device is that it's maybe for users who interact with Bitcoin and crypto more often, so you can really use it every day, because it's very really easy to use. So yeah, that's the main idea. We also added secure element, which is like a specialized chip that basically protects the private keys that sit on the device against any physical attacks. So that's sort of the device in a nutshell.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. You guys, so you have Safe 5, and then there was also the Trezor Expert. Can you kind of talk about that and what that entails, and what are you really trying to hope there?
Yeah,
achieve there?
Right. Because we want to onboard, millions, if not, hundreds of millions of people to self-custody and to the true ownership of their private keys. We know that might be difficult for some, even though these products are really super easy to use. Self-custody has certain concepts which are different from maybe a bank or some, Cash App, Revolut, whatever, like these apps, because there you basically rely on somebody else that they will hold your money, right? But with Bitcoin, And it's the amazing thing about Bitcoin. You can hold it yourself because peer-to-peer electronic cash system, right? Digital gold, you can really keep those private keys yourself. But of course, you need to be careful about what you are doing and how you do it. And again, our products are really built in a way, in many touch points, we will tell you what to do it and how to do it, what to do and how to do it. But some people, of course, might enjoy this sort of human touch to this as well. So that's why Trezor Expert is really, I mean, that's experts, like physical human experts that train for many months, and then they know everything about self-custody and Bitcoin and crypto, and they will help you onboard to the product. So we basically book a 60-minute session online, and those people would, in a one-on-one session, they will help you to get started with your Trezor.
Who are these experts? Where do you find them?
I mean, as I said at the beginning, those are basically, passionate people about, crypto and Bitcoin.
Okay. They're not like Trezor employees. Well, now they are.
They are. Now they are. But yeah, they are basically people that are really excited about this job. And we are quite sort of meticulous or let's say picky in who we work with in that sense, because obviously it's very important. And we are super happy with the team. Actually, we silently launched the service like a month ago, and we were collecting sort of feedback because we wanted to test it before we go, like public with this. And the feedback so far has been, like top marks basically, because everybody, really 100% of those people that booked the session gave it like a 10 out of 10.
Do you kind of see that evolving over time for you guys? I know you have the blog where you kind of educate people on what Trezor is, what crypto hardware wallets are, etc. But with this launch, it kind of seems like it's opening up the door for more education, almost like consulting in a way, to teach people what these things are. Is there another step behind this that would come later?
Yeah, so we are considering other options and let's say other scalability option, how to scale the service, because obviously it is not very scalable, right? Like I totally admit it.
You need a lot of people.
Exactly. We need a lot of people, but I can also imagine because we are working on also our really like text materials and videos and sort of our content strategies reflects that as well. So and we have a lot of different ideas there, and really good ones I think that we can apply. So I can imagine in the future there will be also something sort of like less one-on-one, but still something that you could sort of get from us in terms of like a service that would help you to start with Bitcoin and self-custody.
Right. And I'm assuming they explain the significance of owning a hardware crypto wallet, not just a crypto wallet. Obviously, there's tons out there. I could download one in like 5 minutes or less, hopefully. But for you guys, I know at Trezor Day yesterday during this conference, you talked about how only 2% of people who own crypto own a hardware wallet and use it, I believe is what you said.
Right.
How do you kind of get the other 98% to understand the significance or importance of owning a hardware wallet?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it yourself in the word basic education. I think it's the education. Unfortunately, there's, I would say, like positive side of the education, which is maybe proactive, coming from companies such as ourselves, to kind of explain, hold your keys, be careful with those, and use the right products that do that right. But also, I think there's sort of negative side of education, and that's basically those hacks I talked about. Because then we totally see and not just hacks, but also like bankruptcies, right? So when banks and exchanges go out of business because they fucked up or did some stuff even like illegal, then we totally see that in ourselves, right? Which on one side, of course, it's nice for us, like to kind of validate, as I said about the market maximalism. It's nice that it's being instantly validated by the market, right? That it's kind of saying, yeah, this product is right, and the positioning is right, et cetera, et cetera. But on the other side, of course, it's kind of sad, right? Because like people are using a lot of money just, by other companies. I don't want to swear, but like other companies maybe not doing the right thing or not doing it properly. So yeah, I think it's education in a nutshell.
So 2%, what does it take to get double that to 4%? Is it more hacks, bad things, or is it we could have a good side of this as well?
I think all of us, meaning us and our competitors, are really moved in the last couple of years from these like as I mentioned, this like word like geeky, techie sort of field to, let's say, our products and services to really more really mainstream consumer electronic stuff. And I think that's great. And I think the market is kind of noticing this, and I can see the adoption. I hope the adoption will be bigger over the years. But also I think it's this. It's basically a better product, more quality product. It's the education that you mentioned. And yeah, it's probably also that negative side of things that this might happen in the future, though I don't, of course, like wish it to anybody, but that might be the third kind of part that will help to for most users to realize, okay, I should probably hold my private keys in a device that is specifically built for this.
I'm sure during the FTX collapse, Celsius collapse, all the other situations and bankruptcies that happened back in 2022, you guys were pretty busy with sales and everything.
Yeah. So FTX has been one of the strongest sort of months of sales that we saw in the history of the company, because it's exactly all of a sudden the messaging was, oh, damn, like I don't really own my Bitcoin if I leave it on an exchange. And a lot of people realized that, so they started to coming back to us or to us. So those are, we could definitely see it on ourselves.
Has there been like positive moments that have inclined like a influx of sales, like with the maybe spot Bitcoin ETF approval in the US? Did that bring in a lot more sales for you guys, or no? Because institutions are just kind of going to these ETF products, not really realizing that it's not theirs in a sense.
This podcast is sponsored by Galaxy. And if you're immersed in the world of Web3, Galaxy is a name you need to know. As a decentralized super app with an impressive 21 million users boasting over 100 million monthly transactions, Galaxy is elevating its impact with Gravity, the magnet chain for Web3. Gravity is designed for full chain abstraction, zero knowledge proof-based privacy, and rapid transaction speeds, all coming together to offer an unparalleled user experience. Gravity opens the door for developers to effortlessly build on the largest on-chain distribution platform, and for users, it promises an even smoother, more secure journey through Web3. It's not about being on-chain, it's about being on the right chain every single time. Galaxy is on a mission to onboard the world to Web3, and Gravity is the magnetic force that will propel that vision forward. Ready to launch your Web3 journey? Build the future on Gravity. Visit gravity.xyz for more information.
I think in general, the answer is yes, in the sense, and I will try to explain, in the sense that whenever Bitcoin price is going up, and those news probably definitely, helped with that. Whenever Bitcoin is pumping, basically more people would come to us as well. So our best marketing is really Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin price. It's like super correlated, and we see it all the time. So that helps. But also, so in terms of like ETS, I think generally, I think it's a good marketing for Bitcoin, but for exactly like actually those users who would get a little bit more educated about what exactly Bitcoin is and why was it invented in first place. I think it's really awesome if people really try to hold their own private keys and really own the Bitcoin directly and not through some intermediaries or some sort of legal obligations or a contract that you hold basically, or the ETF holds for you. So because then, I mean, just as a story, I don't know if you know, but like Satoshi Nakamoto himself in the Genesis blog, the first blog that was ever mined, even mentions like an article to a news about the sort of bank's bailout or something like this, and it's it was like after the 2008 financial crisis, right? Because there was like this debt crisis, and all of a sudden we are in a situation where we make Bitcoin sort of again like a security, like a legal obligation.
Yeah, it's like a full circle.
Which is a pity, because then, by the way, these companies also hold the Bitcoin through the exchanges, and exchanges just get hacked all the time. So it's like if you can hold Bitcoin directly, why would you not do that, right?
Do you?
Yeah, of course.
All of your Bitcoin?
Oh, sure. Like, of course.
Okay. And then so obviously Bitcoin is like the major one, top one. With your Safe 5, it's Bitcoin colored. What about the other tokens? Do you feel that there is a massive need for those to also be held off exchanges?
Sorry, I didn't get the
So
question.
you support, Trezor supports over like 9,000 tokens, right? We've been talking a lot about Bitcoin. Do you feel that these other tokens also have the same like paramount need to be held off exchanges too?
Yes, it's exactly the same story. So Trezor device protects the private keys, and it can be from Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. So it's exactly the same kind of story there as well. Because a lot of those hacks, of course, doesn't happen only on with Bitcoin, and not only Bitcoin gets stolen, but all the other cryptocurrencies as well. So yes.
And how does the overall like market conditions impact your business? Obviously, you were saying in a bull market, things are a lot better, but how do you navigate through bear markets or bullish markets where we're not like fully there, but it seems in like that intermediary phase?
Right. So for us specifically, it's we are a hardware company primarily, right? Like most of our sales come from hardware. And it's quite interesting and difficult, to be honest, to be able to manage the stock properly. So what that means that when bull market comes at us, we have to make sure, because the demand is skyrocketing from 1 week to another, for example, or again depending on the Bitcoin price, but those jumps might happen very, very easily, and it happened in the past. Then we really have to make sure we have enough stock of our devices. Because if you don't have the stock, you don't sell, of course, and then you don't make money, and you don't improve product any longer, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to really manage our stock carefully. Also, because in hardware in general, there's something called like lead times for the components. So basically, you order some components to be able to build the device, package it, and send it to the customer. And these lead times can be like a half a year or more for certain components. And so you have to be very sure in the timelines that you have, the right amount of stock for, the given demand, right? So that is very specific to us and every basically hardware business. And so whenever, the bull market is coming at us, we try to also amass, let's say, some cash to be able to produce more of that stock and then kind of sit on the stock to be ready for another increase in demand.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to clarify that when he says stock, I'm assuming you mean inventory.
Yes. Sorry.
We're talking about a lot of assets out here. I want to make sure we got that correct.
For sure.
Okay. That makes sense. So
a private company, so no Trezor stock.
There we go. As it stands right now, how are the sales looking for Trezor?
Very good, to be honest. We are happy with what we are saying now. I'm sorry. And I think we can expect really that the bull market is, just we are at the beginning, I would say.
Going back to that percentage, that 2%, what percent does Trezor want to onboard realistically?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think we can really double what we sold in the past in the next bull market. That would be the general premise that I think we can do. But if you look, I don't know, like 5 years, let's say, ahead, I think it could be, we are talking of millions of users that we will get into self-custody. That's our goal.
What about people that are not in the industry at all, like normal people, not in crypto? Do you see a future where we even get like 1% of that market?
Yeah, I do. So, there is, let's say, those 500 million crypto users today. The estimations that at least that I saw, it could really double, triple over the next bull market. So we are talking, 1/8 of the global population, possibly, or more. And I think definitely the self-custody market will grow with it as well. But also, as I was saying, like we are getting better in being more mainstream in the good sense of having better products, like having products that are really super easy to use. The consumer electronics feel to it where it's like really nice, really easy to use, beautiful design, etc. And there I can imagine that even the novices coming to coming to Bitcoin and the crypto market would even start directly with hardware wallets, because it used to be in the way that the message would be start on exchange, then go to hardware, etc. But I can totally see that they will start capturing this market as well, because it is really very easy to start with the hardware wallet.
Kind of talking about some major themes. You mentioned security as one of them. What do you think is the general state of security in the crypto industry today? I feel like it might have evolved a bit from previous days, but it's still not fully perfect.
I think it's a moving target. I think that's what the challenge is. Like, it's definitely evolving.
Yeah.
But also, of course, the hackers are, evolving as well. Yeah, exactly. So it's a moving target. And it's sort of this kind of cat mouse, situation where there'll be always this thing, I think, happening. So yeah, and that's, by the way, why we as a company are really doing everything we can in an open source way, because it really helps to kind of to get audited by the community of experts. Obviously not like if you're not a techie, you wouldn't help us, but like there are thousands of experts around the world who help us to audit our code. And that's awesome. So because that helps with the security, it's like a security model for us.
Has there been like white hat hackers that have kind of looked at your open source code and helped in like the recent months or years?
Yeah, there's I don't have any specific examples, but we have like a bounty program where you basically, if you find some bugs in our, let's say, code or whatever, you just disclose it to us, and we even like pay you for this, or we give you some reward. And those actually happen in history a couple times, so which is quite nice.
Yeah, it's a good thing that
it's like,
showing it to you opposed to someone else taking advantage of it.
Yeah, it's like a radical transparency, I would say. Like in the sense, and it's nice. And by the way, it's in our culture as well. Even so, the way we talk to ourselves is the same thing. Like as you said in the beginning before the interview, like checks are quite direct, I would say, and so we that's the way we discuss things here as well.
They're like, here's a bug, and you're like, thank you.
Yeah, or fuck. No.
It's all right. You can curse on the show.
No,
we're adults.
It was just a joke. Yeah, that's exactly how it is, and we really
Awesome. Do you think there's a solution to fixing security across the board, or it's just going to always be a problem in this industry?
Sorry, could you repeat it?
Yeah. So when it comes to security in crypto, do you think there is like a way to fix it across the board, or it will always be a problem?
Got it. I don't think so. I think it's really a moving target. As I said, I think there, maybe now, because like if, I don't know, like quantum computers happen, then Bitcoin and cryptography has a problem as well, right? So, but we'll probably think of something else. So, so I think it will be always this, and I think it's okay. Like it's okay because I think in general, like innovation is driven by some challenges, problems, difficulties, maybe something that's not comfortable to us, and it's perfectly fine. So I think this will be constantly evolving thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, but I had to ask the CEO. It makes more sense to ask you than take my opinion. When it comes to self-custodying, I was talking about this with other people at Trezor. How do you kind of alleviate misconceptions, kind of show the importance of it? Or like, what is the most common thing that you hear and you're like, that's wrong, and this is actually the truth?
Right, so one of those things, the first that comes to mind is that Bitcoin somehow lives on your device, that you would somehow store the Bitcoin itself on the device. That's not true. Bitcoin is a network, and the other cryptocurrencies as well. So most of them. Let's talk about Bitcoin, because
going on.
Some of them are pretty centralized, the other cryptocurrencies. So let's talk about the best, and that's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is a network, and so it doesn't sit on the device. The device protects private keys, which is literally like those keys from your house or your car, So those sort of like passwords to the network, where you identify yourself with the amount of Bitcoin that you have. So that's, I would say, like the main misconception. And again, we created like a human readable backup of those keys, because the keys is like the key. Private key, you can imagine like a really long Wi-Fi password with like characters, numbers, etc. And so those sit on the device, and the device will give you like a human readable sort of version of those keys, and which is basically words. So you write those words down, and you keep them somewhere safe. And then you can, by the way, recover those keys not just through this device, but any other device that uses the same standard that we invented, and that's pretty much the whole industry. So that's kind of like a neat thing about this.
Do you think there is a need for normal crypto wallets still, though? Like, are you like, yeah, it's okay to own your crypto on exchanges? I don't know if you would say that. Or it's okay to have like a crypto wallet that's not a hardware wallet.
Yeah, I think it is fine. You can use a like mobile app for these things. Just don't keep your own, a lot, too much of your assets on there, right? Because it's the same. Let's imagine we don't have banks and we all keep our our gold at home, or let's say
under
our
our
cash,
mattresses,
and it would just be just walking with like all the cash that you ever that you have
right
in your like bag, and we would pay coffee with, I don't know, $1,000 bill or something. So it's not, that would not be a good idea probably, right? Because somebody could steal it from you. It's not practical, etc. So it's the same here. It's I use these apps for smaller payments. That's perfectly fine. But when it comes to really like your main assets, keep them in cold storage.
Keep them safe.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
To wrap things up, I have a few more questions on like long-term visions for crypto wallets. Where do you see them going in the future, especially with Safe 5? You just launched that. Do you see them kind of like evolving in a smaller sense, like just maybe more user accessibility, like better looks? Or do you think there's like an actual evolution that we haven't hit yet with crypto wallets?
Yeah, so definitely those things that you mentioned or that we talked
hardware
about.
Wallets, yeah.
Yeah. I think we are going more in the sort of mobile first approach, definitely. So it'll be connected to your mobile phones for sure through some wireless connection. So that's definitely happening for us as well. Like we are working on these projects as well. And I think it's also sort of creating these powerful ecosystems where, as I mentioned, you don't really need to start on exchange, because like if you download our app, like that goes with Trezor, we call it Trezor Suite, you can buy Bitcoin through there as well. So you don't even have to maybe go to exchange and start there, learn different UI, etc. You can really start with a hardware wallet, and that's, I think it'll be really cool, and that's what we are working on.
Okay, cool. And for Trezor, future of Trezor, as the CEO, where do you see it going long term? What do you really see the vision for the company?
Right. So we definitely want to onboard, as I said, many more millions people to users to self-custody. That really is the main goal for us. We want to do it through, again, amazing, beautiful, easy to use products, and that's what we are working on. And integrate all these services together as well. So create really these powerful ecosystems where really users feel safe and they would not do any sort of mistakes, because we would almost like this, the product would not allow them to do anything foolish. So yeah, so that's for us the laser eye focus on this, and yeah, we are super excited that more people are actually coming to self-custody.
Amazing. I'm sure the Bitcoin Prague conference is helping as well.
For sure.
Outside of everything Trezor related, crypto hardware wallet related, what else are you focusing on in the industry right now? Like, what has your attention?
I think also for us, it is, I would say, scalability of Bitcoin in general, because Bitcoin has some challenges when it comes to how many people can use the network, in terms of how many transactions can it sort of proceed. So that's something we are looking at as well, because we would like, again, users to go directly from Trezor and be able to send transactions inexpensively. So I think that's for sure. Also, like, obviously, security is still, it will always be like a paramount topic for us. So that's what we are focusing on as well. I think the new tech as well. I mentioned the wireless connection stuff. So there are a lot of technologies that we could use with our future products as well, and that we are working on. And yeah, so those are probably these probably come first, to mind.
Okay, cool. My last question for you is, can you leave us with a piece of advice, maybe something you've carried with you throughout your time in this industry?
again, first that comes to mind is trust in radical truth and radical transparency. I like this quote. It's from Ray Dalio. I think I read it in some of his books. And that's something that, I use in my, honestly, personal life as well. But it's so fitting for Bitcoin industry and self-custody industry as well. It kind of works for all the facets of my life. So I guess I can recommend this.
Okay, I like that. Well, thank you for having me in your studio today, and thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a great conversation. Thanks.